Hello everyone, welcome to bispsolutions.com. My name is Sumit and I'm a Vice President CRM and Data Analyst in BISP. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate you how can you build your first Lightning component by using Salesforce developers account. To know more about Lightning component, you can visit this link developers.salesforce.com Lightning Intro Lightning Framework. This will give you more knowledge about Lightning component framework. What is Salesforce Lightning? So mainly Salesforce Lightning is a tool, is a framework which helps the developers to develop web applications for mobiles and desktop devices. So from here you can figure it out what is Lightning component, what are components, what are events, and why use Lightning component framework. And if you need some help, you can get some help from the left side menu bar. Now, as I've told you that we'll be going to see how to build a Lightning component quickly. So for that, as you can see, I have already got a developer's account. And the very first thing we'll be going to do is we will be going to set up our environment. So to set up our environment, first of all, we need to create a namespace. Namespace is globally unique across all Salesforce organizations. Namespace would be case sensitive and it would have maximum length of 15 alphanumeric characters. So let's have a look how can we create a namespace. So to create a namespace, click on setup, then scroll down to create packages, and in packages you have to be click on edit. So as you can see here, I have already defined a namespace named as BISP app. So when we click on edit, we can define a name and click on continue. So because I have already defined it, so I namespace prefix, because I have already defined it, so I don't have to make any changes. I simply click on review my selections, and BISP app package to be managed, no package. We don't want to manage any package right now because we are already managing a package. So we created a new namespace. Now the next step would be we need to enable Lightning component, but nowadays all the developers account, the latest version of the developers account will be using, in those accounts the Lightning component is by default enabled, so we don't have to enable it explicitly. But just in case if it is not enabled, you can go to develop, and within develop we have Lightning component, and click on Lightning component just to check whether it is enabled or not. So as you can see here, it is already enabled and I have created a couple of Lightning components over there. Now the third step would be we would be going to upload the Bootstrap as a static resource. Bootstrap is basically to provide the style, the look and feel, or a certain design to to a Lightning component. So that I would be going to add as a web resource, as a static resource. So we click on build, develop. Here we have static resources, and within static resources I have uploaded a Bootstrap file named as Bootstrap, and it's a CSS file which contains the style sheets. It's a CSS file, its size is this, and if we click on view file, we can see the file. That's the file which contains some default styles. So we are going to inherit those styles in our Lightning component. So once we are done with the static resource and the namespace, now the next step would be we would be going to create the contact controller class. So in this video, we will be going to display the list of contacts on a Lightning component. So open developer console. So here I'm going to use a custom object to display the values, to display the data on a lightning component. So here I have an object called inquiry, and in this inquiry we would be capturing the candidate records or the inquiry which we receive from the candidates from various customers, so for a particular course. So we have got their details, and now we would like to display their details, to display their list on a lightning component so that we can access it either on a mobile phone or on a pad or even on computer as well, or in a system or on a desktop. So very first thing would be going to do is we'll be going to load the open developer console, and if any previous component which has already been initialized, we can close all those components, and we are going to create our new custom controllers and lightning components. So as you can see here, couple of components has already been initialized, so I'm going to close all of them. And the very first thing is I'm going to create a control visual force apex class. So this would be the this apex class. This apex class will help to extract the records from inquiry. So here I write apex class name as, let's say, inquiry controller. That's the name of apex class. And in this apex class I write aura enabled. So this aura enable, this method annotation, it makes a method available for lightning applications. And this inquiry controller is a regular controller class with methods which helps to retrieve the inquiries or to search inquiries by name or by ID, which will be going to implement in next video. So in this video we'll be going to only inquire, and we'll be going to only inquire the inquiries which are stored in an inquiry object and display on the lightning application. So I write aura enabled, and I create one public static list inquiry underscore underscore c. Now it is very necessary that we should know the API name of the object as well as the fields. So let's figure it out, the API name of the object. So the API name of object is BISP app underscore inquiry underscore underscore c. So I just add it here, BISP underscore BISP app underscore inquiry underscore underscore c. And I created one function named as find all, and here I'll write a query return select ID comma name comma phone. So whatever fields do we have, we need to figure it out. So we have ID, and we have name, and I want their first name and last name. So the field name is BISP underscore first underscore name underscore underscore c. So as I've mentioned that we'll be going to use the API names, comma, we want to have last name, so that's the last name. And if you want contact number, we have the contact number as well. So I'll just display its contact number as well. So you need to write a query to filter all the fields, and from BISP inquiry underscore underscore c. If we want, we can set a limit as well, but here because there are only 2 records, so I'm not going to set any limit. But if you have millions of records or billions of records, there you can apply filters, or you can set limit. So it's showing an error message that semicolon is missing, so I just write a semicolon and save it. So the apex class is ready to use. Now the next step would be, we'll be going to create the lightning application. So for that I click on file, new, and select lightning application, and I'll give a name as quick inquiry. and submit. So it will create a lightning application along with the bundle. So you can see application controller. So at the right side you can see we have application controller, helper, style, documentation, and render SVG. One line I would like to add, I would like to apply the CSS, inherit the style sheets which we have stored in our static resources. So for that I write link href is equal to single quotes slash resource slash bootstrap rel is equal to style sheet. So let's save this much, and I would like to test this application, that how it will be going to look like. So I click on preview. So the page has opened, the page has loaded, the app, our Lightning app has been loaded in the browser, but it's not showing anything because we don't have any text into it. So we are going to add some division and all. So I have mentioned a code, and let's save it. So this basically it will show lightning contacts, or we have an href. This is a link for lightning contacts. So here this will be using container. We'll be going to customize it. Again, we have a division class as a container with rows and column, and it will simply display a message inquiry list goes here. Now if I click on update preview, you can see a lightning contact is added and inquiry list goes here, text is coming. So this text is customized. Instead of this text you can show anything. So for example I write welcome to BISP solutions. Let me save it, and I'll say update preview. So it will get updated. So this is the first step we have done in order to build lightning component. So first of all we have created a lightning application. So this hyperlink, this link tag, it basically it's at a reference to the bootstrap style sheet we have uploaded in the previous step. This application is using the bootstrap to implement a basic layout for the application which is already applied on this lightning application. And this lightning applications can include the lightning component and regular HTML markups which I have already defined here. So I'll just save this, and now the next is we'll be going to move to the next step. So now we will be start building the lightning component responsible for displaying the list of inquiries, and we add that component to the quick inquiry application. So first of all we'll be going to create a lightning component. So I'll select file, new, and lightning component, and this lightning component I'll give name as inquiry list and submit it. So it will create a new lightning component, and in this component we are going to write the controller. First of all we are going to invoke the controller. So I write controller. Now the controller would be, it would be go along with the namespace dot controller name. So namespace dot controller name, and the controller name we have defined. So that's my controller name, inquiry controller. So I just copy this name and paste here inquiry controller. Then I write aura attribute name is equal to contact. It should be inquiry, and I set type is equal to, it would be getting the data from BISP app underscore underscore inquiry. So we have this, it would be getting the data from BISP app underscore inquiry underscore underscore C. So it would be linked to this underscore underscore C, and it would be an array type because it may return multiple. It will return more than one records. Then we need to have one aura handler, aura handler. I'll just give name as init. So in aura handler, when we create an handler, when we are going to create a helper class or event class, there we have to design that we have so in event handler we have to initialize this event function. So init value is equal to this, and I define action as well. So action is equal to it will invoke c dot do init, and it's a self closing tag. So let's save this much first. Now it's showing an error message, so let's figure it out. The error message, so it saved descriptor controller source, invalid descriptor controller source. Fine, not a worry, because we haven't finished it, because we are saying that init and c dot do init, so we haven't initialized that action. So first we need to define that event as well, which we are going to define in next step. Now I want to list all the upcoming records, or the returned record which would be returned by the control. So I created an order list class is equal to list underscore group. Yeah, it's a self. Fine. Then we have list group, and I'm going to run an iteration, or a iteration items is equal to var is equal to enq enq, and it's an iteration, so we are not going to close it here. We need to define. Now this iteration will get its value from v dot inquiry, and we would be going to list the items. So I create list item class is equal to list group item, and we are creating a hyperlink as well, so that when user click on that particular record, it will redirect, it will take the user, it will redirect the user to rest of the details for that particular data record. So it would be hash bisp app underscore. So I can just copy it from here instead of writing. So I just copy this from here. It would be redirecting to bisp app inquiry forward slash plus enq dot id, because now we would be referring all the records with this variable. So enq dot id and bracket close, and here I display the values. So I write p, and I'm going to display the values. So I'm going to display values like enq dot bisp app. I want now in controller we will be returning the first name, last name, contact number. So I want to display first name. So I copy this first name. I want to list all of them. So I write it should be enq dot bisp app first name. Then I just copy this. If you want to display ID, you can do that, but I'm not going to display any ID right now. I'm going to display first name, last name, and phone number. So I just paste it, last name, and for contact number, we have this contact number underscore underscore CDFP contact underscore 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 C. That's all. So let's check the tags. It is closed here. This li is closed here. Iteration is closed here, and ul is not closed. So we need to close this ul as well. So I just copy this, and after iteration I close this ul. So I'm not sure why it is not closed there, so but I it's fine, and we can just save it. So if any error in it will show the error message. Now the next step would be we would be going to create we'll be going to create the controller, or we'll be going to implement the controller. So because if I'll save it, I'm also getting an error message for inquiry controller, or we are getting an error message for controller. So we need to create a controller for this inquiry controller. This controller is not defined right now, so we need to create this controller. So I click on controller, and you can see a new controller has been defined. Now in this controller, the default action, the default function, whatever the default function, we can use it, or we have to customize it, because we are not invoking this my action, we are invoking doInit function. So I'll just copy this doInit function, and we are going to invoke this doInit function here. DoInit function component event. I'm not going to invoke any helper class right now. I'm interested only with component and event. So event, then I create where action is equal to component dot get, and we will be going to invoke the inquiry controller function. The function name is find all. So I simple write here get c dot find all. So this would be the function name. So whatever function name you have, find all, so same function name should be provided here, c dot find all. Then I write action dot set call back this comma function a, and we'll be returning the value. So we initialize it. I write component dot set, and we would be going to set the output into this v dot inquiry. So in this v dot inquiry, the result will be stored into this v dot inquiry comma a dot get return value. So whatever value returned from the function, that will be initialized with a dot inquiry. It will be provided to a dot inquiry, and this a dot inquiry will display the output here, a dot inquiry. And this function is closed properly. Okay, this one. And because we initialize this function here, action dot callback, action dot set callback this dot function a, we haven't, okay, we are not going to close this right now, function a, then component dot set, and 1 2, this one bracket is for this. Finally we close this callback function and end it with an semicolon. Now I write $a dot nque action and action. Now what do we mean by this enque action? This enque action, it sends the request to the server, basically, or if I'll say more precisely, it add the call to the queue of asynchronous server calls. So this queue, that queue is an optimization feature of Lightning component. And we have this find all method. I have told you this find all method in the component server side controller, which we have created previously, and it will get all the values and stored into v dot inquiry. Let's save it. So I've saved it. Now there are no issues. I'll just get to inquiry list and save it again. So now you can see all the errors have been resolved. Now errors are not coming. And now if I simply say save all and click on update preview, it will simply load a lightning component page, but it's not showing me anything because still we are not invoking the function which we have to invoke. So what we'll be doing, we'll get back to developer console, and in developer console, in the component inquiry component app, instead of this welcome to BISP solution, we would be going to invoke the list which contains the value. So the value will be returned into inquiry list. So I simple write here, I simple invoke it, and I write BISP app dot inquiry list and self closing tag. So now when I click on preview over here, it will again load the lightning component app, and it shows us the two records which we have mentioned. So I have made the changes, some which is required changes, and you can see we are getting the output as desired. So it's showing me the first name and the contact number for both the records, and the hyperlink is coming, and when we click on that link, it will redirect us to that particular record. So that's how we can create a lightning component app on a Salesforce lightning. If you have any queries, you can visit our website www.bifpsolutions.com. You can connect with us for consultancy services or consulting services for for yourself or for your company, for your organization. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.